All right, happy holidays, y'all. Merry Christmas, and welcome to Right Path Retirement, the podcast hosted by Jimmy Lynn, the president, founder, and financial advisor, got to have that too, of Right Path Wealth Management out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And you can dial Jimmy and the team up, 702-805-7000. They'd love to get into it with you here. We're right at the end of the year, Jimmy, so I'm sure there's been a lot of end of year and now beginning of year 2025 planning, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it gets really busy in our office. People think that, it's the holiday season and we're kind of shutting it down. But this is where a lot of the really, really effective planning takes place with our clients. So we're trying to take care of a lot of tax management with our clients right now. And then we're going to be rolling into next year. So hopefully I'm able to take a little time off to relax before we get it going again.
Yeah, for sure. And anybody that's here that's any time of the year, know the end of the year, there's certain deadlines you got to hit, like RMDs and things like that. And then beginning of the year, of course, you're getting right into tax season too. Last couple of episodes, we talked about, does someone have enough to retire, and also when to take Social Security? And that answer can kind of vary, especially depending on several things. So be sure to go back to listen to those. Before we get into this week's topic, Jimmy, any big Christmas trip planned with the family, or is there a Lynn family tradition that you get to practice there with your crew?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be staying in town. We usually stay in town during the holidays, and we're in the midst of the planning for the Lynn Christmas party, which is going to be Christmas Eve. And so there's a lot on my plate right now. Got to figure out the menu. My wife's I'm going to say nagging. That's not nice, but she's encouraging me to get the house organized. So it's game time, right? So we've been getting ready for this, but it's go time.
And then I think it's the twin daughters, right? They just got done freshman year of high school.
A boy and a girl. Yeah. Boy and a girl. Yep. They're
high school. Yeah.
They're actually in the midst of taking their finals right now. So it's a new experience for them, right? Because none of their grades really counted prior to this, so they have a level of stress, which I like. We don't try to apply too much pressure on them, but I like the fact that they kind of put some pressure on themselves. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, a lot going on in Lynn family.
I bet it is. Well, let's launch into this because I have one number written down as the moniker for the episode today, and it's 59 and a half. So, Jimmy, tell us what's significant about the age 59 years, not 59 even, but 59 and 6 months.
No, Doug, that's the magic number, 59 and a half. And some people, at the age of 20, 25, they are already looking at that number because that's a magical number when you can access those retirement accounts penalty free. So, people are working diligently throughout their life. They may be self-employed, or they're at their company where they're contributing diligently to that 401k or their TSP or that traditional IRA. And you have to have, it's a long game. Retirement planning is a long game, and you have to have that patience. But when you have that patience, it really pays off. And that magic number is 59 and a half when you can access that money penalty free. So, a lot of people think they don't have access to their retirement accounts, and you absolutely do have access to your retirement accounts, but there's that 10% penalty, besides some circumstances the government gives you a pass, but generally speaking, you have that 10% penalty on any money that you take out of those tax deferred retirement accounts that we talk about all the time. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, obviously, you also have ordinary income tax that you have to pay on that. So that's never going to go away, because when you make those contributions, as we always talk about, Doug, you're getting a tax deduction for putting that money in. So that's the beautiful thing. You're not paying those taxes through your working years, but you will be paying that when you take that money out. But 59 and a half, again, is when a lot of the planning starts, because that's when you can take that money out penalty free. So a couple things we see all the time, Doug, when people come into the office and they hit that magic number, is it really opens up your world of planning, right? Okay. Most of the time, when you have a company plan, whether it be a 401k or a TSP or 403b, those plans are known to have limited investment options and limited flexibility. So once you reach 59 and a half, oftentimes, right, because we've talked about this, where the clients that we meet typically are going to be those pre-retirees within a few years of retirement, or they're just about to retire. And the beautiful thing is now this is when the real planning starts. How do I create that income stream? How do I save in taxes? How do I protect some of my assets and maximize those investments? And that is a ton of planning that takes place. And typically we as advisors are not able to manage those funds that are in those retirement accounts. But once you reach 59 and a half, most of the plans that I see allow you to do a rollover. So you can actually take those funds from that account that you have with your employer, and you can roll it into a traditional IRA. An important thing here, Doug, that a lot of people don't understand is that it is not a taxable event. So you have a 401k, TSP. When you withdraw money from that and you put it in your bank account, you're going to pay taxes on that. Sure. But if you do a rollover into a traditional IRA, we use Schwab and Fidelity as our custodians that hold the money. When you do it the right way, it's not a taxable event. You can move, you got $500,000 in a TSP, you can move that over to your traditional IRA, and you're not going to owe any taxes on that right now. But now it opens up a whole bunch of different planning opportunities.
So if somebody could do that before age 59 and a half, or no, like if somebody has a 401k and they're my age, 39 years old, and they just want to move that over to a different type of account, can they do that, or does it depend on the type of account they move it to and they roll it over if they get a penalty or not?
It absolutely does depend on the type of account that you move it over to, and there's generally you're always going to end up paying, if you do it when you're under 59 and a half, there could be either a penalty or taxes that you're going to owe that take place. And it may not be the right planning opportunity prior to retirement, just because you have other income sources that are kind of putting you in higher tax brackets. And that's why 59 and a half is kind of magical, because we can now open up the ability to move money over. The plan allows you to move that money over, and then we start that tax planning that we want to do. So we can do Roth conversions, generally speaking, and every plan is going to be a little bit different. But generally speaking, when you have these company plans, they're not really flexible in allowing you to convert your money into Roth accounts. And that's a lot of the tax planning opportunities that we see with people that are entering retirement. The other thing is that if someone is going to be retiring, if their income is lower, that also gives us the ability to kind of do those Roth conversions that we talked about. But all of this has to be done after you've turned 59 and a half in order to avoid those penalties and avoid paying higher taxes on some of this money. So that's the main thing that we look at. And one thing I will say, Doug, is that people, they love their 401ks or TSPs because a lot of times they're getting that company match. And so they're fearful, like, if I move this over, I'm contributing, I'm getting that match. You don't have to worry about that. You can do a rollover, and still, we actually encourage all of our clients to keep those accounts open because they are getting that company match, and that's free money. So keep contributing, but you can take what you've saved over the past 20, 30 years and start planning for that money while you're still building for retirement.
Yeah, someone might want to work 10 more years past 59 and a half. And they could still accrue retirement savings while now having access to this money that unlocks the 59 and a half. Can you quickly, Jimmy, run down through the types of accounts that have that 59 and a half barrier on them? Because these would be qualified or non-qualified accounts. The key is retirement, right?
Right. So most of the accounts, those tax deferred accounts is what we're referring to. So 401k is going to be the one that's most well known. Yes. The TSP for a lot of federal employees, they have those 403bs, traditional IRAs, all of these tax deferred accounts. So with listeners out there, if you're thinking about, just think about those accounts that you haven't paid taxes on. I will say, actually, I won't take a step back. Roth accounts also. So any type of Roth IRA or Roth 401k, with
even
those, there are
taxes on them.
Right. Well, you don't have to pay taxes on it, on the money that you put in or the growth, depending on if you play by the rules. So there's still a penalty because it is still a retirement account. So you still, the 59 and a half rule still will apply. But generally speaking, I would say for the people that we work with all the time, where we see most of their net worth tied up in and their retirement savings tied up in are going to be those tax deferred accounts. So when they hit that age, a lot of them, it kind of coincides with people looking at retirement, right? They're just that much closer. You hit that magic age of 60 and you start thinking about, 62, you can file for Social Security, 65, you get Medicare. So you start seeing these different, I would say, milestones in your life. And so it starts with that 59 and a half age.
Why do you think the powers that be picked 59 and a half? I mean, that was a government thing, right? What was so special about 59 and a half? Not 59 even, not 60, not 65. Do you know?
I would say the easy answer, Doug, is the government likes to make things as difficult as possible for us.
We have an easy answer for the answer being difficult.
Right. I mean, because 60 would be way too easy. A nice round number like 60 would be way too easy. Yeah. But sometimes we as humans or we as the government like to overthink things, and they may have had some calculation that determined that was the most efficient way for the country or the tax or IRS. I couldn't give you a great answer. So I think it's just about complicating our lives.
Fair enough. Well, 59 and a half it is. Now, if somebody's hearing this and maybe they didn't think of 59 and a half is that number that opens me up to planning, or they didn't even realize that was a rule at all. They just thought this money was untouchable and they need to get in touch with you. They like what you've said, or you've hit a tension point with them. What do they need to do?
Well, I think the best starting point is just to either give us a call at our office, 702-805-7000, or go to our website, rightpath2retirement.com, and you can reach out to us that way. But the starting point is just coming in and meeting with us and having a complimentary consultation. I tell people there is no obligation. We encourage people to come in with all of their questions, and we can educate them, walk them through the different gotchas that they may not know about as they start their retirement plan. And if there's a way for us to help, we'll let them know. But again, sometimes the barrier to people coming in is, I'm not ready to sign up for something. I'm not ready to commit to something. And we tell people all the time, we're not going anywhere. We've been here for years and we plan to be here for decades. So we work on our client's schedule. When they're ready to engage us, we will welcome them with open arms. But the starting point, whether you want to start anything, is just come in and meet with us. Just get to know us, and we'll get the ball rolling from there.
Well, the complimentary consultation is where that happens at rightpath2retirement.com or rightpathwm.com. And Jimmy, I know you do seminars, live events. I mean, there's all sorts of ways people can interact with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have offices in Summerlin as well as in Henderson. So it's pretty convenient for anywhere you live in the Valley. And we love the face-to-face. We love to, shake hands and really just get to know our clients as we work towards their retirement goals.
For sure. And they could also dial them up the old-fashioned way. I'd hate to say that's old-fashioned now, but it kind of is. 702-805-7000, 702-805-7000. Well, Jimmy, I know you got a lot of stuff to get into there and a lot of stuff happening inside the office and out, so we'll let you go today. But thank you so much for lending us a little bit of your time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Doug, and happy holidays, everyone.
Hey, you got it. Happy holidays to you, Jimmy. Everybody, thank you for listening to this Right Path to Retirement podcast. If you like what you've heard or think you know someone that needs to hear it, I don't want you just to subscribe and turn on the notifications. So we like that, and we want you to get those so you know when each episode publishes, which is roughly every other Tuesday. But make sure people that need to know about it have access to it. Jimmy's got such good knowledge and needs you to know. And we also want to thank our producer, Daniel Salerson, for getting this published and ready to put out the show. I'm Doug Turnbull. He's Jimmy Lynn, the president, founder, and financial advisor of the Right Path to Retirement podcast. We'll have another episode coming your way soon.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities policies of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained by sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management.